Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Penguin live streaming at Phillip Island Nature Parks. My name is Heather, and my wingman tonight is Michael.
Hi everyone, welcome.
So just to start off, I would like to acknowledge the Bunurong people, traditional custodians of the land that we are on tonight, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We've had a lot of people send in comments, so folks, my name's Heather, as I said. If you could send comments, questions, we love hearing your feedback. So what we're looking at tonight, if it's your first night of joining, or if it's your second or third night, this is the main beach where we're going to be watching the penguins come ashore tonight. The littlest penguin in the world, folks, the little blue penguin. So if you can see the empty stands, folks, when you're coming back to visit us, that's where you'll be sitting, watching these amazing little birds. And there's a little white box in between that little building. That is where we count the penguins every night. So tonight, Beck and Sally are counting the penguins. They've just turned on the lights, I think, and they're ready to go. So I am one of the rangers here that counts the penguins, and we have had some questions saying, how do you do that? So it's a tough job, folks. It's as I said, it started in 1968, and we continue to do it the same way. So you have a set of binoculars, and you're looking out on the beach. And when it's a clear night, you can actually see the rafts of penguins in the water. So a group of penguins in the water is called a raft. So if it's calm, you can see them coming in. Hey, tonight, folks, you're in for a treat because it's a really low tide. So just counting, we count for 50 minutes, and you can kind of line up a landmark while they're crossing the beach. When it's a low tide, it's a really easy job because they stretch out. Having said that, it is the breeding season, and there are a lot of penguins coming ashore. So there's groups of over 200. So that's the counting. Now, if we look down at the Penguins Plus here, where we're looking directly out at, there's a Pacific gull. Now, that Pacific gull is a little, well, we don't actually want it to be there. They are a predator of the penguins, and the penguins might see that bird there and stay out a little longer. So we don't want that bird there. We're hoping that he'll go away, but we'll see what happens. It's a big thing predicting penguins because they always make you look a bit silly because they are wild birds, and every night it's different here, folks. Every night there's different penguins coming ashore, but this is a major track, and this is where we're expecting the first group of penguins to come ashore. If you were watching last night, you would have seen that one penguin come and go back into the water, and then the very first group, that really big group. So we'll see. It's very different tonight because of that Pacific gull. Oh, I think he's left. No, he hasn't. He hasn't left. Yeah. So just a little bit about Phillip Island Nature Parks, folks. We are a not-for-profit organisation, conservation organisation. Oh, is that some penguins coming in? Oh, yes, I think so. Let's have a look. Yes. It's hard to actually see, but I think I can see some little heads coming in. Yes. Oh, our first penguins, how fantastic. So you can see that a few have actually left the water. Now, being a low tide tonight, that is so scary for these little birds. These little birds, folks, they're 33 centimetres tall. They weigh 1 kilo. They're so hard working out there fishing during the day. They spend 80% of their life out in the water. So not the same penguins coming ashore every night, but it is the breeding season now. It's it's actually begun. So we're going to expect to see a lot of penguins coming ashore to maybe relieve their partner that's sitting on the eggs, or maybe even carrying some fish, because we have already had some little chicks hatch out of the eggs. So, folks, see if you can count these penguins. I'm not saying they're going to cross the beach just yet. It is really scary for them. Sometimes when we have a high tide, they just kind of surf in, but see how they group together? So there's safety in numbers. See, they're going back, little scaredy cats. So they're not ready to cross the beach. It is still a little light, and it is all about the darkness crossing the beach. And the reason for that is the overhead birds of prey. So our penguins are really smart. They know once the sun's gone down that those birds of prey are going to be roosting in the trees. So they won't cross the beach, especially when it's a really low tide and they've got a lot of sand to cross, until they feel really confident. So let's see what they're going to do. See if they're hanging out together. Oh, look at that one going over to that group. Yeah, he's going to join them. So here we go again, leaving the water. And see how they're grouped together. So if a bird of prey did fly over, it would look like a really big mass. Oh, they're scared again. They're going back. Yeah, they are going back. Oh, look at that. Look at
gull flying around, 2 Pacific gulls.
So there's two. Michael just tells me there's 2 Pacific gulls flying around down there. So that's going to send our penguins into a frenzy. That's going to be really scary for them. So let's just observe whether they're going to make a dash for it. So crossing that bit of sand is their dangerous dash. And if you can look, folks, you can see there's a group of rocks in the middle. Now, the penguins love it when they get to that group of rocks, because they know with their blue feathers they're camouflaged. They are the only penguin in the world with blue feathers. So let's see if they're going to make a dash for it. And those pesky Pacific gulls will leave and let our penguins return in peace. So we're just amazed at the amount of people that have been viewing these penguins. I've worked here as a ranger for quite some time, and my biggest thing that I get out of talking to people when we have people here is penguins make people happy. They are just amazing little birds. As cute as they are, they're very resilient. Now, look, folks, they are making that dangerous dash. Let's see if when they get onto those rocks. So they're stretching out a little. They're going to make it to the rocks. So there's a few lagging in between. So see if they hang out on those rocks, and see how camouflaged they are when they do cross those blue basalt rocks. So about this time, folks, is when they're committed. They're not going to go back to the sea now. Well, I'm saying they're not. And then there's a little imaginary line that they get to, and it's about here where they just take off. They really start running. So see how they're going to go onto the rocks here behind the green there, and they almost look like moving rocks with their blue feathers. So I'm going to predict that maybe they'll hang out on these rocks for a little while, but as I said, always difficult predicting penguin behaviour. But it's a great place to stop, catch your breath, preen, have a little chat. Maybe they see a neighbour, maybe they see their partner, or maybe they're just really pleased to see another penguin, because out in the water, they're really solitary birds. They're diving for fish. They're following the fish, and they're not in a group or a school like a fish. So out in the water, they're quite solitary birds, diving up to 1,000 times a day, folks. So they are very hardworking little birds.
I just found out there was 100 penguins in that first group.
Fantastic, Michael. So anybody that was counting, there's more than 100 penguins in our first group. So some of them are going to just make that dash back to their burrows really quickly. See where they're going under. This is the Penguins Plus boardwalk. They're going to be going under that. So folks, when we have people back here, you can be sitting here. You can be sitting there so close to those penguins. What was that, a wallaby running across there?
I think it was.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder if he interrupted the penguins. So watch them. They're going under that viewing platform. We might go to the highway. Have a look if there's any going down the highway. Oh, here they come. Oh, well predicted, Heather. Here they come. Look at them, like some are very upright, some are leaning over. Oh, look at that one, he nearly fell over. So some of these penguins have bellies full of fish. Yeah, and folks, watch them, watch their heads moving from side to side. So what they're doing going along this, what I call highway number 1, is they're looking for landmarks, because they use landmarks to find out where their burrows are. So these penguins are amazing birds. They are going to return to within approximately 30 metres of where they were born. So some of these penguins on this journey tonight, oh, that one just fell over. They're going to be going up to 1.5 kilometres back to their burrows. Some of them, they're going to live up. We might go, oh, here comes another group. Fantastic. Some of them live right on the foreshore. Now, see these penguins coming around here? See the glass? That is our underground viewing. So when we invite people back, or when we can have people back, we would invite you tomorrow if we could. You can actually buy a ticket there too, and you're looking out and you're looking at penguins at eye level. It's an amazing place to view our penguins. So folks, we might go back to the beach now. Ah, yes, here we are. And folks, if you're thinking about your fathers for Father's Day, and you've got a father that knows that all fathers know everything, that has got everything, you can actually adopt a penguin for him. Or if you like, you can donate to our Penguin Foundation. Our Penguin Foundation funds our wildlife hospital, research, conservation. So if you could, it would be amazing if you could make a donation, and the donation box is just on the left-hand side under the logo. But yeah, for those dads that have got everything on Father's Day, hey, I think your dad would love a penguin. So we're going to back and looking out. There's some more penguins coming out of the water. These little birds, folks, spend 80% of their life out in the water fishing, and they eat whole fish, squid, and what they're doing is they're really buoyant. Because it's a hard life out there fishing, they have to really conserve their energy. So what they're doing is they're kind of floating on the water, and then they're diving down. And
how long can they stay underwater for, Heather?
Great question, Michael. So we know this because our researchers have put a depth recorder on a penguin. So we know the longest dive was 74 metres, and that little penguin held its breath for 1 minute 56 seconds. So let's just call it 2 minutes, folks. So if you look at how small these penguins are, and imagine how little their lungs must be to hold your breath for 2 minutes. So that's what I'm talking about, how tough and resilient these birds are. So that's a great question. Michael, do you have any other questions?
Yep, we've got another question from Lisa. How many penguins are in our colony?
Great question. Yeah. So what we're looking at here is just part of the colony. Our colony goes right down to the knobbies, but we have 32,000 penguins that call this colony home, keeping in mind that 80% of the time they are out in the water. So we have approximately 5,000 penguins living on this beach here where we're viewing the penguins. So 32,000 is the answer to that, yeah. So have we got any more leaving the water? Let's zoom in and have a little look. I don't know whether I mentioned how many penguins came ashore last night. I think it was 983 or 84, something like that. So I'm hoping that maybe this weekend we can hit the 1,000 mark, folks, because as I did explain that it is the breeding season. And during the breeding season, lots more penguins come ashore. Oh, here's some taking a wide track. What's happening here? Yes, they're taking the road less travelled. These ones. Yeah, maybe we can try and zoom in on those and have a look. Sometimes if penguins are a little bit spooked, and that could be because of those Pacific gulls earlier on, they will hug the rocks because they know that they are camouflaged against those rocks with their blue feathers. So folks, I have a little personal story to tell you tonight because it's a very special night. So 8 years ago at the Penguin Parade, I was walking up the boardwalk with some visitors, and a penguin walked past in a group and laid an egg. At this time, my son and daughter-in-law were expecting a baby, and they both worked here at the time. So after work, I rang them and I said, I've had a sign because a penguin laid an egg, which is incredibly unusual behaviour. I've never seen it since, and there's rangers that have worked here for many, many years that have never seen it happen. So it was a juvenile penguin, and it's laid this egg. So I would like to say happy birthday to Manny in New Zealand in Hawke's Bay because he turns 8 today, and I remembered the story because it was his birthday, and I was right. That penguin did send a sign because he was born that day, that night. So happy birthday, Manny in Hawke's Bay. So we've got some more penguins going to hang out on the rocks here. I love the way Jordan calls it the salon because they hang around on these rocks, preening themselves. Well, again, Heather, you're predicting the behaviour. They might just go straight over the rocks. But let's hope they do stop and have a preen so we can zoom in and have a look at them doing that. Yes, are they going to stop? Yes, some are going to stop. So they use their beaks to preen themselves. And there's some parts, obviously when you've got a beak, you can't do the back of your head. So if we look, we may see they kind of, it's like an embrace. It's very romantic seeing them preen each other. And they may not necessarily know each other. They may be just neighbours. As I said, all these penguins return to the same area. And, it's like we live in a street and we know our neighbours, so we might know them to talk to, we might know them just to smile at and wave to. So let's see if they're, some are leaving, some are going to preen. Penguins have layers of feathers, so they always have to be waterproof because, as I explained, they spend 80% of their life out in the water. They, if they weren't waterproof, it would be disastrous for them. So when they come ashore, they've come from one environment to another, and they do rearrange those feathers. So to kind of analogy is that on the inside feathers are like a doona and the outside feathers are like a wetsuit. So what they're doing is they're preening those, rearranging those feathers and also making themselves look really nice so that they can attract a partner, or maybe even like the male's a little girlfriend. Yes, I would like also to a shout out, a hello to Birmingham Primary School in Year 2. Thank you for watching our live stream, and I'm hoping that our penguins are making everybody happy that is watching. I know people have watched for more than one night, and I've heard about people even setting their clocks and watching every night. So thank you, and we just hope that we're bringing some joy to everyone's life. It's penguins just make people happy. They are very, very incredible little birds. Oh, look at those! What's happening with those two? Yeah, maybe. Thought there might be a little embrace. So it is the male penguin that owns the burrow, and he invites a female to be his partner. So they don't necessarily stay together forever, a bit like people really, but some do. If the penguins get divorced, folks, the first wife gets none of that burrow. So some penguins will mate for life. Some, yeah, as I said, some.
So who owns the burrow? The male owns the burrow.
The male owns the burrow, and the male digs the burrow. So he invites a female to be his partner. And our penguins are pretty promiscuous, folks. We'll just call a spade here. And a male might try and have a little sneaky, girlfriend on the way home. So it is about reproduction, and yeah, the male owns the house. But having said that, both the penguins mind the chicks, and both the penguins will take turns in incubating, sitting on the eggs, and both the penguins feed the chicks. So they're pretty sophisticated with that. Shall we have a look at what's happening out the front? Oh, any more questions, Michael?
Oh, yeah, we've got another question. So how old are the penguins once they leave their burrows and they go to sea?
That's a great question, Michael. So penguins lay 2 eggs. They take turns on incubating them. One parent will be out in the sea, the other will be sitting on the eggs. The time for the incubation of the eggs is 35 days. And oh wow, look at this, folks. That's a big group coming ashore. In the salon, I should say. Let's see if they're in a bit of a rush to get home. Yeah, so to finish answering your question, approximately 8 weeks, these penguins make their first journey to the ocean. And without a GPS, without Google Maps, they just know to do it. And by the time they're 8 weeks old, they're almost as big as their parents. So
do the parents actually teach them how to fish?
No. Great question, Michael. No, it's a really hard life out there for penguins. They at the age of 8 weeks, they will, before the sun comes up one morning, they will go, and we call that their fledgling journey because it's their first journey to the ocean. And pretty much every time they come ashore, they will use the same track, and they will return to within approximately 30 metres of where they were born without their GPSs and without their Google Maps. So how amazing are these little birds? great numbers tonight, folks. Look at these ones coming ashore now. So see how they were stretched out, and now they're going to group together and cross the beach in one mass. Here I am predicting what they're going to do again, but we'll see. So they're making their dangerous dash across the beach. We'll see when they get. Oh, there's one going. Is there one going back? No, he's gonna make the group. He's gonna make the race. So as I said, crossing the beach, doing this dangerous dash is the scariest part of the day for these little birds. Folks, Michael has just let me know that there's only 5 minutes left in this live stream. My goodness, the time goes quickly. As I said, Michael and I, this is our first night, so please be kind to us. There's a lot to do, and yeah, it's a whole new world for us. It's quite a different world from being out counting penguins, I can tell you. Also, just to let you know, we are really excited to have all our visitors back when it's safe to do so. We're very excited about that. And don't forget what I said about that little Penguins Plus viewing there, because you'll be sitting right there, folks. You'll be sitting right there looking at those penguins preening themselves. And just a reminder, if you want to make a difference, if you want to donate to the Penguin Foundation, the little logo, if you click on that little logo there, and donate, or even adopt a penguin. As I said, it's adoption in name only. But if you haven't got that Father's Day present, or we've all got those friends that have got everything. Like, that's a great gift for someone who's got everything. Because as I said, penguins make people happy. So, a gift of happiness. Where these penguins are, we're looking down on now. About 4 or 5 days ago, that was a big pool of water, because we've got a creek that runs down here, and when it rains, it fills up. Having said that, I worked here for probably 3 or 4 years when it was quite dry winters, when there was no water in there. So the first time that there was water in there, it was very exciting for me to watch those penguins swimming across there, because it is much easier for these penguins to swim than to walk.
What are the penguins actually doing right now, Heather?
These
There's
ones,
some of them scratching their bums. And
so yes, so they are preening themselves. They've got a little oil gland at the back of their tail, and they're putting that conditioning through their feathers. They're making themselves look really beautiful. So you can see that one there. He's got his beak right round, under his flipper. So look at that one. That one looks like it's doing a bit of penguin yoga. It's got his little flippers out, doing that, getting his beak right round the side there. Yeah. Any more questions, Michael, just before we finish?
So how many eggs do they lay? Did we go through this before? I'm not too sure. But
we're vaguing out a bit, Michael,
I think so.
aren't we?
How tall are the penguins?
Okay, all right. So penguins lay 2 eggs, and both the parents take turns of incubating them. And how tall are they? They are the smallest penguin in the world, folks. They're 33 centimetres tall, or should I say 33 centimetres short? I don't know which one. And they weigh approximately 1 kilo. So when they're out in the water, they would like to be able to eat around about 400 grams of fish a day. So you think about that, it's like almost half their body weight. Very hardworking little birds. Very hardworking little birds. So big groups tonight, and I'm hoping that everyone had a fantastic time of our live streaming. Michael and I probably have to go home. You know, it's Friday night. We better get home. Special times. Thank you so much for viewing tonight, and we hope that you tune in tomorrow night. Have a fantastic night, and thank you.
Good night.